Well, I'm afraid you're stuck with just me one more time, but I hope that works out okay for you. I have performance coach and author Roy Red today, and we're going to talk all about his new book, The Unbounded CEO. We're going to talk about his other books, about how to make more money, how to have fun. We're going to ask him all these kinds of questions about success. We're going to talk about what you learn from training athletes of all different schools and abilities, and what it applies to regular old people like you and me. And then we have Karen Jacobsen, the voice inside a billion devices. So we're going to ask her, besides recalculating what else she's been forced to say into microphones far too many times, we have all kinds of shenanigans. So come on, pull up a seat, get that air conditioner going, depending on where you are, crack a beverage, and I suppose we ought to start the show.
Welcome to the Backpack Show with your host, Chris Brogan and Carrie Gargone. Boom shakalaka.
Well, hello and welcome to the Backpack Show. I'm your host, Chris Brogan. Carrie Gargone is elsewhere. She's flown the coop. I say hello, bonjour to Carol. Hello, Leslie. How everybody else is doing well as well. I am going to grab Roy Red as our first guest on. Roy's an author, a coach. He's done all kinds of stuff, and I want to shake him down for all kinds of information on what we're out there preaching, why does success matter, how is he getting people to it, and oh my gosh, I have 1,500 questions. So let's bring him out here. Roy Red, how the heck are you? Welcome to the show.
How are you guys doing? Thank you for having me. Love the show. Love what you're doing, Chris.
The Unbounded CEO, we're going to make some more money. We're going to get more done. When you see the work out there, when you see the CEOs are out there, is there a level of CEO that you're kind of approaching? Do you have a persona in mind that you're talking to when you have these conversations?
Yeah. So usually we work with business owners doing $1 million to $5 million a year, but we also have programs for all business owners. And what I found was business owners got 100 things they're doing. They got 100 things they regret they're not doing, and they don't really know what actually works in their business. And all we do is simplify it. My one gift I have is I can take real complex things and make them simple and make them work. And so we look at their business, we look at their life. They got in the business because they wanted to be free. They wanted to be an entrepreneur. They wanted freedom. But now they have just a harder job. They're working in their business, not on their business. And so we help them work on it and create more freedom so they have more time off and live the way they actually wanted to when they created that business.
Now, you've done a bunch of different jobs. You did a lot of performance coaching for athletes at different levels and whatnot.
Yeah.
Where did that start, and how did you realize that you were in the right place to get working on all the other skills that you were going to need to collect to be who you are?
Yeah, I actually got lucky. I wrote a book called The Success Magnet just because I wanted to, write books and be a life coach. I didn't really know what I was doing. And a NBA skills trainer by the name of Casey Truheke reached out to me and asked me, does this work on athletes? He brought me to work with his athlete, Alan Crabb, who earned himself a $75 million contract. We ended up working together, creating an amazing relationship. And what I found was everybody is an athlete. If you're a mom, you're a mom athlete. If you're a dad, you're a dad athlete. CEO athletes. We're all someone trying to perform at a level so that we can get results that we want. And so once we manage our mind, manage our time, and manage our money properly, then we can achieve any outcome we want.
I want to bring you back just a tiny bit because this isn't really how it all started for you. This isn't, if I talk to Roy Red circa age 20, I think I wasn't talking to this guy I'm looking at right now. You had your big epiphany around, I think it was age 25. Yeah. What happened? What made you say, oh, wait a minute, I got to pick a new game? What happened?
So I was 25 in 2011. I just wasn't living right. Wasn't saving and allocating money properly. I was working a dead-end job that I hated and ended up broke, depressed, and just embarrassed. And one night my car broke down on the 10 freeway going westbound, headed into work. and I was in the diamond lane. And for those who don't know what the diamond lane is, that's the carpool lane. And between the carpool lane and the regular freeway, the regular highway was a median. So when my car broke down, I had to push the car by myself 2 miles to get it out the median. And when I was pushing this car, just super embarrassed, high emotions, asked myself a simple question. I said, Roy, you got all the skills. You live in America. You're smart. Why do you continue to self-sabotage yourself and put yourself in these situations? And I didn't like the answer to that question, which was, it was my fault and I wasn't taking responsibility. And I began to tear up and cry. And somewhere between pushing that car those 2 miles by myself and tearing up, I said, I'm never going to let anything like this happen again. I'm going to take total responsibility for my life. And that's exactly what I did. And from that day forward is when I just started reading like I was supposed to, started working out like I was supposed to, and just started living the life and actually making my common sense my actual common practice. And what I found was it's just as easy to be successful as it is to be a failure. You just got to do the daily stuff, the daily mundane stuff.
I want to get into the daily mundane stuff because I'm
Yeah.
in love with this term you came up with,
Mhm.
workability.
Yeah.
I was just having, this is such a side note, but I was explaining that my shift in music appreciation went from heavy metal to like 90s hip hop. And
Mhm.
that the reason I switched to 90s hip hop was because there were all these songs like I Go to Work, I Get the Job Done.
Yeah.
Jay-Z is saying, I'm not a businessman, I'm a
I'm a
businessman.
businessman.
And I was like, man, so I saw workability. I was like, where's your song?
Yeah.
I want to talk about that word workability. I want to know how early into your life that was, because there's a big difference between crying on the 10 with your car, in front of you,
Yeah.
versus actually doing it the
Yeah.
next day and then a week or so from now. What'd you
Mhm.
do, and what was like your mantra to grind?
Yeah. Well, so workability actually came from something my dad always says is if you ask my dad what's the best diet, and he also trains NBA athletes, or what's the best thing to do, and my dad always says, I'm not really sure, but if it works, it works, and if it doesn't, it doesn't. And I just think that's so profound because we argue so many things of how mental health should go, how we should save our money, what crypto we should do, but at the end of the day, all that matters is the result, the lag measures that we want. And so if it works, it works. And so we came up with that term workability, meaning if does this actually work? Uh, Forget the facts, forget the data, forget the opinions or concepts about something. When you do something, does it actually bear fruit on the other end? And then that's when I started to open up my eyes to what we call lag measures here at Unbounded. Is what do we do every day? What is the 20% that's going to give me 80% of the results? And me being a lazy dude, that's what I became really good at, because I want the results, but I don't want to have to work super hard. All these guys saying you got to hustle and you got to grind. I love Gary Vee. He's one of those guys. I mean, that's cool, but I want to do the work that's going to get me the results, and I know that it's going to work every single time.
So your dad was out there coaching NBA people. That's tough. Did that force you to have to be extra? Like, did you have to be the most extra? Because, coaches kids, basically, no matter how you look at that, that's a tough role to be in. Did that
Yeah.
make a little bit of a dent in who you became?
It did. One thing I've noticed is I didn't want to be an actual physical trainer. I wanted to go more the mental aspect. And one thing I did learn is, like, because my dad raised me in the gym, how to work out and all that stuff. One thing I learned is actually a lot more athletic and stronger than a lot of pro athletes. But I'm only six even, maybe I'm 5'11", six even on a good day. And so that just wasn't in the cards for me. But helping them become better is just what I'm so gifted at, because I'm able to simplify. I can look at him and say, okay, he's missing this. He's missing some responsibility. He's missing some integrity, or he's missing this. And then we can literally get them to play at their potential within a few days.
Now, one of the books I noticed you put out was The Little Book of Mental Health.
Yeah.
talk a little bit about that? And is that the first one that you published?
That was the third book I published, I
Oh,
believe.
okay.
Yeah.
How did
Um,
that go for getting it out there? And tell me a little bit about how vulnerable did you feel putting out a book like that?
uh, Good question, Chris. I felt super vulnerable because I don't have any degree in mental health. I'm not a psychologist or anything like that, but I know what works. And the same things that take an athlete from good to great mentally is the same things. It's the same things that take someone from being depressed to being okay. And so what I found is how we explain mental health is the reason why mental health is how it is. And so I say it's the psychologist's fault. And it's just the words they use and how they explain it. And so the little book of mental health is will definitely remove anxiety, remove depression, and remove addiction. It just flat out works. And I talk about workability in the book. I'm like, I'm not a psychologist, but I know what works. And I read every day voraciously about this stuff. And I did feel vulnerable because I had, psychologists tell me, oh, you don't know what you're doing. You don't know, who you are, all this stuff. And I just said, you know what, I'm going to put it out anyway. And then it ended up impacting thousands of people. And, I get people all the time saying, hey, I was going to end it all, read your book, or reading your book helped me so much. And I'm just glad I put it out because I was able to impact a lot of lives and trying to get that information out, because it's if once people realize simple distinctions is so easy, then they can just really be happy, or what we like to say, be joyful.
Hmm. Carol had a question. She asked
Yeah.
about your lag measures. Are lag measures a measure of the tactics or the results?
Lag measures are the results. The tactics are what we call lead measures. And so, for example, I'm a speaker and I speak all over the world. And so my main lead generation tool is speaking on stages. And so when I want to get a speaking gig, it takes me about 100 emails to send out to get one gig. So a speaking gig is my lag measure of my result, and my lead measure is emails. So if I know my numbers, math plus marketing equals money, then I know what I need to focus on, which is those emails. And so I need to get with my team and figure out how can we handle 1,000 emails a week, put them in the CRM and follow up properly. And as long as we achieve those lead measures, which is really easy, only takes a couple hours a day, then I get the lag measures on the other end. And so that's, for me in my business, the 20% that gets me 100% of the results for that business, actually.
Are there any preachers in Roy Red's background? Because this math plus money math plus marketing equals money, all that. I sense like I don't know, an aunt, grandpop, or somebody. Anybody have a little preaching background in there, or do you weave a little preaching into the way you speak?
Uh, a little bit. I did grow up in the church, but no, there's no preachers in my family. My
Just checking.
cousin is a comedian, but
Hmm.
I just, from 2011 reading a book a week at the very least till today, I just have so much in my brain, so many quotes, so many anecdotes. They just come out as I go.
The quotes, the anecdotes, they just keep rolling. Now, you've spoken at TED. You've spoken all over the place.
Yeah.
What's your favorite experience you've had? Well, I'm looking at a picture of you with Arnold Schwarzenegger. Maybe I just stop there. What's one of your
Yeah.
favorite experiences you had so far through this career that you've built around yourself?
Speaking at Stanford, by far,
Really? Tell me
because
about that.
that got rid of all of the imposter syndrome that I had. And, a lot of us struggle with that. But I didn't go to school, have a degree, and, people and family and friends would be like, gotta go to school, you gotta go, what do you want to do? You want to be a nurse? And I'm just like, school's not my thing. I can't listen to a person I'm smarter than. I just will literally be in school and be like, I'm smarter than this teacher. Why do I have to listen to this person? And so when I spoke at Stanford, it was just like solidified everything for me. And even though they still don't understand, it just made me feel good, because it's like, hey, I couldn't get in this school, but they actually brought me in to speak twice, and I actually trained their medical staff on workability and how their word and integrity increases workability and things of that sort.
Wow.
Yeah.
Roy Red, stick around if you can. We have a little panel we do at the end. I'm going to grab our other guest, Karen, after I do a couple quick ad reads. But thank you so much for coming on, and stick around if you can. We'll have a little bit more to ask you later. Woo, that's a lot. Good stuff, Roy Red. All right, I have a few things. I didn't read any of my ads at the beginning like I'm supposed to, so I got to whip through them kind of quick. Hey, want a podcast? Sure, get one. Castos is the host of our audio podcast, castos.com. Incredible platform. I've worked with one of their competitors for years and years and years, but my friend Matt Medeiros worked here. I said, I think I'll try it out. And you know what? I love it. I'm really happy with the result. The product is great. If you're going to do an audio podcast, use Castos. Want to make a show like this show? Use StreamYard. It's really easy. Quite an easy video platform, easy to control. Look, one man here doing the whole job. I'm doing all the things. I'm pushing all the buttons, Carrie, even your buttons. Hey, want to use a .online domain? You could. You could get royred.online. Who knows? cbrogan.me/online. Just use the code Chris in all caps. You can get this online domain for $1 for the first year. We're sponsored by a fellow show of ours, just went on today earlier. It's Intercultural Spark with Deanna Shaw. So you can get it at 10 a.m. Central Time or on the web at any time at interculturalspark.com. Come check out Deanna's show sometime. Want to try a search engine you've never tried before? Use presearch.com. It's a whole different experience. You can even earn crypto rewards, which changes the way search works, because if you're holding some amount of cool crypto, you can actually stake various keywords and terms. So if you wanted success coach, you could type in success coach, and then Roy could redirect that to his website. So presearch.com, kind of a cool little rig. And I had one other ad that I was supposed to show. Let's see. It's right handy. Oh, there's my ad. Ready?
Guests of the show stay at the inconveniently located from downtown or anywhere, never to be confused with luxurious and never updated FDR Hotel, located somewhere off Highway 84 near an old gas station with a burned out van parked out front with a for sale sign.
Well, I'm going to grab our next guest, Karen Jacobsen, real quick. Elizabeth says, I love this. This is about Roy, and I need to look at my habits. Do you work on overthinking or downplaying the internal mental sabotage? I'm going to save that one for later. Roy can answer it for us. Gosh, I guess you don't even need, Carrie, all those buttons to push. Yeah, thanks for that comment, young lady. And there's Carol saying hi. And I threw my phone on the floor. Hey, super starter. I always see you from those ads. Well, it's okay. I threw my phone on the floor because now I have Karen Jacobsen here. So Karen, you can just voice everything for me, seeing as you're the voice of a billion devices. Welcome on board.
Welcome to g'day. How are you?
I'm well. How are you?
Okay, I'm going to continue talking while you move away from the microphone.
Why hold on to success? I would have perseverated on the fact that I dropped my phone in the first seconds of talking with you. So tell me something.
I think it's perfect.
Do you? I mean, you're from Australia, I'm presuming, and live there now still. Do you, when you brought your professional voice to become suddenly the voice inside of GPSs and all these other applications, did you have to have a sort of location neutral kind of voice, or how did the process go to sit down and start recording out all that voice material?
Oh, well, I cannot wait to share it with you. And thanks for having me on the show. So just to let you know, I am a New Yorker, despite my Australian accent, and lived in New York for 20 years. My apartment is on 43rd Street. And in March of 2020, we took a trip to Australia for a few weeks while the pandemic blew over. And we're still here. So when you said, she's still based in Australia, it's like I'm so unexpectedly, recalculatingly in Australia because of the times that we're in. But, I am from Australia. I moved to New York. I got an audition. They were looking for a native Australian female voiceover artist living in the northeast of the United States. I went to the audition. I got the job. And I ended up recording for 50 hours to create a voice system based on my speaking voice. They gave me a massive phone book size script, and a phone book, for those watching, is a book they used to print with all of the telephone numbers from all of the businesses. in the region. So, you know, that voice system was a long job. It took 3 weeks to record.
50 hours is a lot. I've recorded a bunch of my own audiobooks, and I mean, even just a handful of hours a day is a real grind. What were the conditions like, for instance, having to go back and rework things, or did you ever have to, you know, how many times, like, were there extra pieces to it, or was it one and done with the 50?
It was one and done to an extent, but then some years later, there were clients who were doing would like a customized section for their business to hook into the original system. So that is, yeah. So I have been brought back from time to time to do individual systems for companies that want to tie in with that original system.
Now, the thing is, I'm not used to even imagining this, but not only do you do things like voice a whole bunch of technology that a lot of people are really willing to throw through a window at some point, to also being a singer-songwriter. And you have a song out right now, Ready for What I Came Here For. And
yes, I am.
Talk a little bit about that. What's the process like, and what's your music career about? Talk about that.
Well, thank you, Chris, for asking. So as a little girl, melodies and lyrics would pop into my head, and I had no idea what that was. I mean, I was 7 years old when, you know, I thought, oh, is this a song? And I knew it was really important, and I had to figure a way out of writing it down. So I've been a songwriter my entire life. That came very early in my life. And then, you know, I'm actually in the process of recording my 10th studio album. So I've been a singer and songwriter all the way along, but along the way got a voiceover audition, and my speaking voice has brought a lot of attention to itself. But this new song recorded with Matt Anthony, producer who's actually worked with a lot of great artists, including Darius Rucker, and he is producing this album, and the first single is called Ready for What I Came Here For. It's really about finding deeper purpose in life. You know, I think a lot of people are looking at their journey these days very differently, their soul journey on this planet really differently, and looking at, you know, what am I here for? What am I supposed to be doing with this time I have on the planet? What's the difference I can be making, and what am I really supposed to do? So the song really addresses that. And as you can see, it was filmed in a very gorgeous part of Australia, the Whitsundays, which is right near the Great Barrier Reef. And that's, you know, 74 islands, the Great Barrier Reef. And that's the area that we've been hanging out in and living in during this pandemic crisis. So this is a location right there off Airlie Beach, the tropical coast of Queensland.
What a beautiful area. That's one of the top 4 homes to the great white as well. That's where you can go find the swell little sharks. So you as a girl thought, you know, I have to do this thing. I think I'm going to be a songwriter. But you know what? Everyone thinks they're going to be something when they're a kid. Here you are living it out. This music video is you getting to be cool rock star lady on the beach. Everybody looking at you. Everyone rushing in to like wiggle your cheeks with blush and all that sort of thing. What was it like filming this video for you?
This video was the culmination of a lot of work over a lot of years. And really, I worked with a local creative team, including Tanya Derville and Marie Duras. It was an incredible experience, and it was edited by Chris Orwat, who's in Colorado, actually, at Pure Cinematography, a 3-time Emmy Award winner. So to work with the team at that level was truly exceptional, and to have that dream, that visible dream come true of a white piano on the beach. I mean, that was absolute heaven. And so in many ways, the recording of this song, the release of it, and the filming of it was my dream come true, you know, and for that to represent what's possible for others, and that we can all take steps, step by step, direction by direction, toward our ultimate quality of life and our own dreams coming true. And I loved what Roy Red just spoke about. It's, you know, really about right living and taking those daily actions that we know to do, and we probably already have a lot of examples around us of what there is to do on a daily basis. And perhaps from time to time we've even done those things, but it's consistently being able to take those actions because we know they're right for us, and not because we're trying to prove anything or get anywhere, but it's about right living.
Does something like having this music out now, does something like having this other dimension to you change the voice talent work that you get asked to be part of? Or do people mostly just want you to read for technical? Like, what's the body of your work right now, or the lion's share of the things you get calls for?
What's interesting is it's really broadened I suppose, the image of what I can provide. You know, the majority of my work is in live performance as a speaker, as a motivational speaker and a singer, as a, you know, singer, songwriter, piano playing performer, and voiceover work. And I have moved into really, really working to share the beauty of the area that we are in the Whit Sundays. But I find that really the majority of those requests are around my voice in one way or another, whether it's my speaking voice or my singing voice and the message through it. So, you know, I feel very aligned with what I came here for from that perspective.
Indeed, how well said. The speaking that you're doing, what are the themes that you talk about? What gets you out onto the stage?
The big theme has been for over 10 years recalculating, and that is because you know, very early in those days where my voice was in millions and millions of GPS devices and in-dash car systems, and then I became the original Australian voice of Siri in 1 billion iPhones, and I made the connection between directions in the car and directions in life and in business. And I use the principle of recalculating, which is really about letting go of what did or didn't happen on a daily basis and being able to course correct in our daily life. And sometimes we need to do that on a daily basis. Sometimes through this last period of time, for many people, it's been on an hour by hour basis, you know, to be able to not let the emotional pull of what we're dealing with take us out of the action for too long. So recalculating it's a really powerful tool to navigate change powerfully. So that is what I speak about.
Wonderful. In the process of putting all of these different parts of your life together, does it give you any hint of where to go next? And if so, what kind of advice do you provide for people? Because to your point, if it's never too late, then maybe you have some other mission you're supposed to be going on next. What else is out there for you?
Well, exactly. An amazing question, Chris. For me, this past 6 to 12 months has been uncovering that, you know, for a long time it was about music, and then it was about message, and now it's about integrating the two. So I say that I have music with a message, and I have a message with music. And as you know, innately, as I experience, I'm innately a songwriter. I'm a messenger. So those messages that come through me musically, for a long time, I'm writing all these songs. I'm like, what's the point of writing all these songs? I'm not having a, you know, a Celine Dion level of success with my music. Then why are these songs coming through me? And I've come to this peaceful place that, well, if they're coming through me, it's a message that needs to be shared, which has led to recording this latest album and releasing the music video, as you just saw, and continuing to listen to what I know is right for me. And the response has been tremendous. Now, the results don't look like the traditional results that you might think, oh, it's got to do X, Y, and Z to be successful. But I keep bringing myself back to a place of trusting that if the messages are coming to me, then I'm supposed to share them. And then on those very on a very intimate level, when somebody shares with me that they heard the song or they saw the video, and they're like, I've been looking for a sign that I've been on the right track, or I really needed to hear this today, or this is now my musical mantra. I'm taking a lot of affirmation from those kinds of interactions and connections. And would I love to have a viral hit? Yes, absolutely. Would I love my song to be around the world? Absolutely. But if I continue to judge myself on that level, then I won't be taking the steps that I know are right to take for me. So what I would say to people listening and watching is, you absolutely know what it is you're here for, but there's a lot of noise in the way.
There's a lot of
for a
noise
lot
in
of
the way.
us.
And it has to be so intense to be setting out, doing this, making this album at this time in your life with these changes going on, these turmoils, these things happening. I'll just wait for this to blow over for a few months and then I'll go back.
Exactly.
It's got to be crazy. What do you do to give advice? This is a question that Elizabeth had asked just a little while ago, and it's really for Roy, so I'm going to give him the chance to ask it too. But oops, where did it go? There's a lot of people self-sabotaging. There's a lot of people kind of downplaying themselves, overthinking everything. What's your advice? How did you get over it?
Well, I think it's a work in progress over time, but I think it's a long process of being able to, first of all, to be able to really listen to ourselves, or as I like to say, to listen to your inner GPS. You do know. So take actions around removing the noise, giving yourself quiet time. Some people might want to call it meditation. Other people might want to call it mindfulness. If you don't like those terms, no problem. Call it quiet time. But give yourself quiet time. No nothing, no images, no audio in your house. Just literally be able to listen and hear yourself think. Because you, the real, true you, knows the answer. So it's almost an excavation process. And there are plenty of tools I can share about that. I actually have a free course that I called the Ready for What I Came Here For course, which
Uh-oh.
Ready for what I came here for.
Well, my technology is the one who decided to wet the bed on us. Oof. Hang tight while I get back control of my systems here. I was cueing your music to say, we're going to listen to your music for a second. And it overspoke everything that you were saying. So I want to hear just a little bit, see if we get copyright stricken by you. Hang tight 1 second.
Ready or not, ready for what I came here for. In the thrill of the moment, all caught up with the wind and its promise to take me to far away places. I closed the door, considered letting go, but wanting more. And now I'm ready for what I came here for.
I like that concept of that, you had closed the door, that you were saying, maybe not right now. Maybe I'll pick this up in a bit. I like that because we're not ready sometimes. We're not in a position where we can actually avail of it. So that's a big part of the message too, it seems like.
It is. And it's I do believe it is never too late. Here
I don't know if Karen's frozen or if my side is frozen. It's just suddenly not behaving. Could be me, could be Karen. Everybody's here live. Just say hi real quick. But it's her, says Roy. Uh-oh. Maybe we left a bunch of apps open. I am going to bring Roy back on. Boop. There you are, buddy. Karen, I'm going to remove that. And when she comes back to being visual again, we will ask her to reset her device. We were going fine, but you know what? It's Australia. We're talking to Australia from Boston. We could do this sort of thing, Roy Red.
Isn't it amazing that we can talk to people all around the world together where other people could watch?
It's nuts. We get to learn about her. A billion devices. She's the Australian Siri. That's a lot of things. Oh, we reset. So here we go. Hi, Karen. Welcome. We're going to do a little quick panel with the gang of us here now that we made it here. We were just saying how incredible it is that I can be in Boston, he's in LA, and we can talk to you over in Australia.
I love it. And Roy, I loved everything you said. And I've just like fan stalked you on all of the platforms to connect with you.
No, yeah, I definitely will connect. I saw the Instagram one.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That's the plan. So now here's the question. Roy, you coach people like Karen, and Karen coaches people like Karen. And there are all kinds of people sitting in this audience who think maybe they're not good enough still. They just listen to two really interesting and intelligent people. Roy first, then Karen. Advice. How do you get someone to get that voice that's telling them, no, but that's not you? How do you fix that?
So first, we call that default language. And that default language is what's actually bounding us. And when we can become aware of that language and disassociate from it, and by disassociate, I just mean just allow it to be there. And you kind of look at it as something you're having instead of something you are. So a lot of times we'll have this negative self-talk and we'll say, I am negative, and we'll attach it to our identity. But really, it's just talk floating in the background, and just look at it like you watch a TV screen, and then create the self-talk or generate the actual self-talk that you want on top of that or alongside with it. And, one thing we also do is we stop our self-talk. One thing, if that's what meditation actually does, one thing I teach my athletes is to not move your eyes, because I actually came up with this in NLP. We access different parts of our brain based on what we're looking at. Visual is upper right and analytical is upper left. But what I found is, okay, if we're accessing different parts of our brain by looking with our eyes, what if we just hold our eyes completely still? And that was like this groundbreaking hack that I came up with to get you straight into flow, straight into the zone by holding your eyes completely still. And I have my athletes do it before they go out for a big shot, a big moment. Now you guys are going to be watching games and see what athletes I work with when you see them just staring off into the distance during a huge game. But if you can just quiet that self-talk and realize it's not you, it's talk that it was given to you between ages 1 and 7, then you just realize like, hey, I'm not 7 years old anymore. And then you just move on.
Recalculating. Karen, what when Roy just said about the 1 to 7, I was just thinking, this whole journey started for you as a little girl. What did everyone around you say all the way up to now? And how did you manage those voices as well as your internal voice?
Well, I had a lot of internal voice, as every human being does. And I love that Roy was referring to that, because I love that context of it's an experience you're having. It's a voice you're hearing, but it's not who you are. Mm-hmm. And I have a 13-year-old son, and we talk in that way. My husband and I have a lot of training, and we talk about that a lot with him when he might say, I'm terrible. I'm the worst son. And we're like, no, it was your behavior. It isn't you.
Yeah.
And that's what we want to shift, But I've done extensive work in the deconstruction of the ego, and I worked with a master coach, Sophie McLean, and in her work, she really identifies those incidents, Roy, at the age of 2, at the age of 5, at the age of 12, at the age of 17, and how we construct our persona. And then once we bring awareness to that, being able to, oh my gosh, it's just so informative. So that 1 to 7 age group, age range it unlocks so many answers for us as adults and why we do what we do. But my work, Chris, is really about building that ability to shift the energy. We're talking about shifting the energy. So, and I teach very simple tools, because I think when we're a deer in the headlights or completely, owned by that experience of the little voice in our head, or feeling it feels real to us that it is who we are, sometimes our only access can be a very small action, taking a deep breath, bringing awareness to it, going and having a drink of water, walking around the block. These are very tiny ideas and actions, but they're extremely powerful if they result in shifting ourselves out of that very stuck energy.
Yeah.
Wow. I'll take it. Well, as we're winding down, I realized I didn't tell you the last 3 things that happen in the show in what order and all that. So you're in for some surprises. Who knows what'll happen? So here's one of them.
Oh, and here's our person of the day. Kaboom!
I really never get the opportunity to award this person of the day, but I'm going to give it to Carrie, who's usually my co-host, but is often doing other stuff. So I'll give her person of the day for her incredible comment. Gosh, I guess you don't need Carrie, all those buttons to push. So that's what I'm going to do there for person of the day. There's one question left, and then I'm going to ask you my last question. So this is, how would you recommend, if you have to manage up, to say it's your behavior, rather you as a person, to a project lead or family elder on a holiday? So are you asking, I think I understand the question. You're saying, how do I convince someone else that it's about someone's behavior? I may need a little more clarity on that question, Elizabeth, so I can ask it. In the meantime, I'm gonna ask the question that I ask every guest that we've ever had on the show, from Sir Mix-a-Lot to Sister Ann Flanagan to Susan Bennett, the other Siri. Here's a question: what goes in your backpack? This could be something physical. It could be something metaphorical. Don't put your 8-piece little something or rather in there. Your flexible plan for life and success, but it could be something like an avocado. It could be something like hope for the future. So one of the best ones we had was an extra set of teeth. DJ Cummerbund said, he said, you never know when you need them. And one of our favorites for metaphorical was kindness by burlesque dancer Ariel Helvetica. So I'll start with you, Roy. What is something we're going to add to the backpack for you?
First, I just want to say that's such a cool question and concept. One thing that we say in hip hop culture a lot is I'm in my bag, which is like analogy saying like I'm focused and I'm ready. And so my bag, what I got to keep in my bag is gratitude. Gratitude, man. When we're unfortunately our minds aren't primed for gratitude. We have to prime it for gratitude, but gratitude is everything. When you're grateful for something, not only does it get you out of a state of anxiety and stress, but it makes you more creative and makes you want to create. And you're just grateful for even the just small mundane things. So I got to take gratitude with me.
We will take gratitude. I think we may or may not have lost Karen again. I can't tell. Mm-hmm. I'm grateful that we had this work so long, but maybe she'll reboot again. So Elizabeth's question, I'm going to pretend it's to you for now, Roy. It's a play off Karen's son's comment, but for a work environment instead of the uncomfortable Thanksgiving dinner, anything come to mind that you want to throw there?
So when you communicate, you don't say you are doing this or what you do is you explain it as an experience rather than something that they are doing. So let's say, for example, you're in a relationship and this person's doing something that makes you angry. You can say, hey, I'm not positive, because this is true, actually. I'm not positive that this is true, but it's just something that comes up for me. I get the concept of angry when you do this thing. And I just wanted to communicate that and just wanted to know, do you have anything to say about that? Or is there any reasons behind that? And keep the dialogue open. And because what happens is when you go at someone like you do this or you do that, their ego automatically shuts down, because the number one human drive is to be right. And so if you try to make someone feel wrong or feel like they're being dominated, they'll automatically get in survival mode. But if you come at them with I'm not sure, maybe it's just me, but I just want to tell you that this comes up for me. I feel like you don't work as hard as I do. I'm not saying it's true. It's just something that comes up for me. Do you have anything to say about that? And you'll be surprised what comes out from their perspective, your perspective, and it keeps the dialogue open for future growth and future creation.
I love it. So I have lost because of the dropping of the device and everything like that. Karen, did I ask you what goes in the backpack for you, or did I just ask Roy and go to the next question? I feel like I just asked Roy. Did we add anything to the backpack for you?
You didn't ask me that. No, yeah, you
So
didn't ask me
sorry.
that question, and I feel like I'm recalculating with the way the tech is right now. Can you still hear me, Chris?
A little bit. It's I think we have that delay, like you're in war zone or something, and we're just talking to you from the battlefield. Oh, here we go. Well, that's it. We're gonna call it. Karen, I hope you have a wonderful thing for the backpack. Sorry to lose you that way. We'll just bring you back for the very end of it. I don't know. Bandwidth is our enemy today, Karen. But
I don't know why. But maybe it's that Pacific Ocean. But you didn't ask me my backpack question.
Well,
and
then
my quick answer is I don't know how many things I'm allowed, but what I would have a journal. I would have a journal and a pen, because they are two of the most powerful devices you can have, and that is to write, to write stream of consciousness, for me to write songs, but for anybody for success is if you have not a device, but an actual journal, paper and a pen. There is something extremely powerful about the physical imprinting action. It's underrated, it's underutilized. Seriously, desert island backpack, a journal and a pen. So that is one of my main tools that I would use myself.
I love it. We made it happen. We heard you and made it work. So you've been in the lab with your pen and a pad, trying to get that label off. All right. The last way the show this ends, and I didn't get to warn you about this either, is that I'll tell you, my grandmother would have appreciated your answers. Let me tell you what she would have added, though, based on what you said.